Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today in episode number 44 of The Hopenning. The Hopenning is the place where hope is happening, and it was created by my beautiful friend, Fran, and myself, Marina. And we are both rapid transformational therapy practitioners in Canada, and our passion is to bring you hope. So here we go. Hello, Fran. Amazing to see you today.
It's wonderful to see you too, Marina, on a snowy but beautiful Canadian day.
Well, I'm so glad that it's not snowing down here where I am in the southern part of Canada. But the sun is shining.
Mhm.
So,
And it's all about suggestion, right? So
right.
today we are talking about the power of suggestion and the ability to have our minds changed just through the power of thinking about change.
Right.
So, Marina, I know that um, because the two of us do rapid transformational therapy, we love it, we're passionate about it. Um, we see clients all the time that just because of an experience in their childhood or in somewhere in their earlier life, it created a mindset for them that has affected their adulthood.
Right.
And I do rapid transformational therapy part time. You are doing it full time. So I know that you see a lot more of this even than I do. But Marina, today we are talking about the power of suggestion and how it can work also in a positive way.
Exactly. Fran, we've had so many amazing guests on here for the last while. We are so blessed with people willing to be here with us. And something that Julie Valenti said last week really triggered a thought in my head, and that is the same energy that you use towards a negative belief, you can use towards a positive one with a different outcome. And then something happened. I had a message from a girl who was telling me how much she hates her job. But she started this message with everything was fine until one day my mom came to visit me at my job. And afterwards, when I went home, my mom said to me, you know, I sense a really negative vibe at your place of employment. And as of that moment, this girl felt a negative vibe at her place of employment. Up until that point, she was not aware of that. And to me, that is the power of suggestion. And I want to do this right now, Fran. I want to ask our audience to close their eyes and imagine that I'm bringing a juicy, juicy lemon. They can hear me cut it. And I'm bringing that juicy lemon right up to their noses, and I tell them to smell it and then maybe stick out their tongues and lick it. And then open your eyes. And you know this very well. 99.9% of the time, if not 100% of the time, my clients tell me, oh, wow, I started to feel the saliva. I wanted to swallow. I could taste the tartness of the lemon. That is suggestion. It's the power of suggestion. Your body has a physical response to suggestions. And just like the little girl who sent me that message saying that I hate my job because there was this absolute fine line, this turning point from loving my job to hating my job. And it was all through a suggestion. So tell me about your examples of suggestions.
It was interesting the example you just gave us because it involved taste, smell, um, seeing, right? So we involve different modalities of the senses. And my example to you about the power of suggestion is the power of the spoken word. So in my classroom, um, I hate to say it, but I use the power of the spoken word a lot. whether it is absolutely truth or whether it's the truth I need at that moment. So there's oftentimes that I just bring cupcakes or something yummy to class. Sometimes it's just extras that are left over in the staff room. Sometimes it's stuff that I made at home and I'm not going to be eating it. So I bring it to the class and the kids will be like, "Oh my God, Mrs. Cadron, you brought us cupcakes." And I will say, you know, our principal, our principal thinks we are the best class in the school. So he brought these cupcakes for us. And sometimes it's donuts, right? Mr. Lamoureux thinks we're the best class in the class. So he bought these donuts for us. And they don't know that it's just a little bit of a spread from the truth. However, the power of suggestion changes their mindset. So as soon as they believe that they're special, right? Wow, we're special. Somebody in authority thinks I'm special. Somebody in authority thinks that my whole class is special. There's a different type of behavior that you get from those students. They begin to act in the way that I have suggested to them that they are, right? I have suggested to them, you're special. And they begin to act as I have said it. And you see it all the time in the classroom. I hate to say it, but within a classroom, you've got 20 little science experiments going on at the same time, right? And it doesn't matter. The power of suggestion, especially on a child's mind, is huge. So if you use terminology such as, and I do this, and it might be so inappropriate, however it works. So they'll say something like, "Oh, Mrs. Cadron, I just am no good at math." You hear it a lot, right? And these are small kids. These are 10-year-olds. "Mrs. Cadron, I've never been good at math. Mrs. Cadron, I've never been a good speller." Well, someone along the line has told them that, right? And so it's stuck. The power of suggestion, it's stuck. And we call it, it's like a cycle, right? You hear it,
It's
you begin
looping thoughts.
it's a looping thought.
Mhm.
And so I say to them, but I'm the best teacher in the world. So I'm not saying don't say that, right? I'm not saying, but you do this and you do this and you do this and you do this. It doesn't work because they have that looping thought.
Mhm.
So when I say, but I am the best teacher in the world, then suddenly the burden is off of their shoulders to perform. Suddenly it's like, oh, well, if Mrs. Cadron is the best teacher in the world, then there's hope for me. And
Yeah.
that's right. That's what our show is about. It's about instilling hope. So as soon as we can change the looping thought, we can put the hope in, which creates neuroplasticity, which
Right.
creates a change in the brain.
Right.
So, yeah, I
And we
mean, it
know
can be a simple thing, the power of the word.
we know that kids are highly suggestible up until the age of 8. I believe it's the alpha brain waves that are very prominent then. So you can tell them, you can convince them that there is a tooth fairy at that point. You can convince them that there is a Santa Claus at that point. They're highly suggestible. But I remember that my mother-in-law, she always said, "Close that window, you're going to get a cold." And at some point in my life, I read something that said, actually, the wind cannot make you cold. It will be a germ somewhere that can give you a cold. It can be something else, but it's not going to be sitting in a breeze or anything else. And I always like fresh air. Even in the middle of winter, I have a window open in my bedroom because I like the fresh air in the evenings. So that was a suggestion, but you know how many people would believe that? And she believed it all her life. If there's a breeze on her, she's gonna get a cold. And guess what? She would have a breeze on her and she would get a cold. And that is how powerful it is. So, and this is, I guess, we see this a lot in practice. Something that was suggested to a person, and I start to believe it. Like you said, I'm no good at math, or I've never been a good speller. Now you do amazing work. front in giving them something new to suggest to, like, I'm a magical teacher. I can change that. And I start to believe, and the moment I start to see results, they are changed for life. So that is a tremendous power that you have.
And then you build on the success, right? You build on the success rather than the non-success. So as soon as you start to build on that success, of course, whatever we focus on grows.
Yeah.
So once we start focusing on the success grows. And so by the end of the year, it's incredible progress they make. Is it because of the change in instruction? Who knows? I know that every teacher that they've had up till now has been an amazing teacher, right? So I am never going to say it's because of the change in instruction. It's the change in the mindset.
It is, absolutely.
We talk about this all the time, the power of gratitude. The power of gratitude to change the mind. And focusing on gratitude changes the brain chemicals, which also results in happiness. If you can create happiness, that can create a spillover into other parts of your life. It was super interesting. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and she was a hypnotherapist as well. And she talked about how when clients come into her, they might come in for one certain thing that they wanted to work on, but then later they come to her and saying, yeah, I came to you for this, but then I noticed all these other changes in my life that started to happen. All these really positive things started to happen. And while she was explaining that, and we've seen it too, Marina, like, I don't know if you know this, but I had a client that came to me because she was having trouble letting go of this bad relationship, a marriage. She was separated already, but she kept on going back, right? She kept on going back and then out and in and out, and she just wanted out, right? So we worked on that. About a year later, she won $100,000. So,
Amazing.
I mean, how are those two related? They're not. They're not related. However, they are related because she changed her mindset and she created a success mindset. She had succeeded in breaking free of the the marriage, the toxic there, and it created a spillover into other parts of her life. So within this podcast that I was listening to, I kind of imagined it like, if you know Jenga blocks. Do you know the
Yeah.
Jenga blocks? Okay. So we're like the person that takes the one Jenga block out. And then another Jenga block starts coming, removing. And then suddenly, oh my goodness, there's this huge change that I never even saw happening because it was all from the inside out. So it's quite, like you said, it's quite magical, really. But it's all about the power of the subconscious mind, the power of suggestion.
That's right. I've had a client a couple of weeks ago who was really stuck in her business and just trying to find out what is that underlying belief in that. And like you say, it's that ripple effect into other things in her life. And the moment we change that belief, that suggestion that was made to her, it was all to do with her relationship with her mom. And she had a lovely relationship with her mom. Mom passed away, but she was still sitting with that responsibility. And did she do enough for mom? I mean, the list can go on and on and on and on. And the moment she realized that she can be free from that, everything got unstuck in her life. And like you say, they can come to you for one thing. And I had a message from her earlier this week, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's suddenly like dating is working out, her business is booming. She makes TikTok videos. She has up to 10,000 views on TikToks in a few days. Like it's just crazy how things get unstuck in a hurry. And it's not always just one thing. Just by giving them a better suggestion. Our mentor, Marissa Peer, wrote the book, Tell Yourself a Better Lie. And it's just give yourself a better suggestion. Just give yourself a better
Mhm.
suggestion. That's all it is.
Really, because marketing, that is what marketing is. And it
Right.
doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
if it's the perfume bottle or the big billboard
Mm-hmm.
about come and live in this community, the gated community,
Yeah.
and then you'll have this wonderful life, or the advertisements about the retirement, how this can all be. It's all about the power of suggestion.
Yeah.
And so is the media, the power of suggestion, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so we can
Yeah.
have the billboard that's advertising for the wonderful life that you'll have
Mm-hmm.
in retirement if you move to this retirement area, or the media that suggests how horrible the world is right now, that it's totally unsafe. Nowhere in the world is safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's best to just, buy Canadian bonds because they're
Yeah.
safe.
Well, I don't know if you remember years ago there was a commercial for a men's deodorant. And the guy would put the deodorant on, and he would be this not super attractive, well-kept man. And the moment he put this deodorant on, all the women would swarm towards you. And if you read up on it, the sales when that commercial came out just skyrocketed because it was suggested to them, if you just wear this deodorant, you would become really sexy and appealing to women. And that's just the power of suggestion, but they probably believe it. They probably believe it. And there's so many things, the intricacies of this. I know Joe Dispenza talks in his book, You Are the Placebo, about the shingles vaccine. How if you look at the commercial for the shingles vaccine, it's like shingles is the worst thing that will ever happen. And I know it's not pleasant. I know people who've had it pretty severely, but the way they reenact that is so extreme. And so people would rush to the pharmacy and get a Twinrix vaccine. I think it's called Twinrix, but it doesn't matter. But it's just the power of suggestion. It's you can almost feel that guy's in the commercial. You can feel his discomfort. It's just a suggestion. And oh my gosh, we can go on and on. Life is so full of them. So I said to somebody yesterday, if we have the power to suggest ourselves something better, how much can we change our lives? So think of something, friend. What can you do today to give yourself a better suggestion?
Well, every morning you probably know this. I write my gratitudes, right? And then I put down, how am I going to make today better than yesterday? It's just what I write every day. I write, how will I make today better than yesterday? So I'm already planting the seed that today is going to be even better than yesterday. And then I write my list, and whether I get to everything on the list, that's beside the point, but I plant the seed. So I planted the seed on my list that I would shovel. I would shovel my back deck because the snow's pretty deep already. And as I'm walking home, and it's a beautiful day, it's a crisp, super crisp -20 day, and I'm walking home from visiting a friend for coffee, and I remember what I wrote about how I was going to make today better than yesterday, and I just grabbed a shovel and I started shoveling. And
Mhm,
so I was thinking about our podcast and how what the topic was, the power of suggestion. So all I needed to do was write that today would be a better day than yesterday if I shoveled shoveled. That there's that
mhm,
side of me that goes, oh, I hate shoveling. But then the other side says, but today will be a better day if I shovel. Power of suggestion, the
mhm,
power of creating, changing the negative with the positive. And sure enough, you get things going within your body. You get a feeling of accomplishment. You get, the exercise out of it. I mean, I'm moving my arms, so I'm counting steps on my watch, whether I'm moving those steps or not. I mean, it's all a feeling of accomplishment. So by the end of the day, I'll be able to check it off because
mhm,
we know that within the system, we know that by putting a check mark on your to-do list, it creates positive brain chemicals. It
mhm.
creates serotonin just by putting a check mark beside something to say that,
Right.
yes, you did it, you accomplished it.
Right.
So it's the intricacies, the intricacies of the mind, the body, the endocrine system. I mean, it's huge, and the science that's coming out all the time about the neuroplasticity of the brain and how the brain chemicals change our thinking, change our body, how we feel, how it can eliminate disease and help to heal.
Right.
It's
Right.
incredible. It's incredible.
Right.
Why would
So
anyone want to stay in negative?
exactly, I had an incident. So I think I've talked about so many times about my past, my life in always worrying about what other people think of me and taking their actions personally. So last weekend I had a situation where I encountered somebody who was a bit upset about a situation that I didn't have any control over. And this person expressed um, almost definitely some anger and definitely some very strong will to get his place in the sun and what he really wants out of the situation, regardless of what anybody else says and does. But I immediately took that very personally. And it was only a few hours later. Well, it was a jam-packed day for me, so I didn't have time to really dwell on it. But the moment I got that evening and it became quiet in my life and my mind started to go there, the feelings that stirred within me was so much from my past, from the life I used to live, where I was always thinking, what did I do wrong now? Did I say the right thing? What did I do to offend this person? And it was like this, the reminder to myself, no, suggesting to myself, what if it has nothing to do with you? Chances are it has absolutely nothing to do with you. And at that moment, I reminded myself of who I really am because I know me. And to just be in that moment of pride of who I really am and knowing that this has nothing to do with me and just to let it be. I don't have to try and fix it. I can just be me. And the moment I suggested that to myself, that sense of absolute peace came back into my heart. I'm like, okay, I'm letting that go. It's not mine. I'm letting it go. I'm just letting that energy go. So that is a positive way to use suggestibility as well.
Yeah. And to go into situations that might be a negative, to
Yeah,
go into it encased in your bubble of light, right? So
right.
if you believe that, okay, you're being called to the boss's office about something, or we have to have a talk, Marina, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
Encase yourself in your bubble of light and remember to unplug, just like what you said. It's untethering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Untethering from whatever their emotion is, because there's a high probability that whatever's going on in their life, uh, if they are a victim, if they have created themselves a victim mode, then
Mm-hmm.
it's always going to be somebody
Right.
else's
Right.
problem. However, they feel it's because of somebody else that made them the, feel this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just to unplug,
Right.
untether, and to remain encased in your bubble of
Mm-hmm.
light, and to remember that they too are they're they get to have their feelings just like we get to have our feelings, but whether we have to be attached to that, that's our choice. You
Absolutely.
know?
So my advice to that little girl who sent me the message about her job and how unhappy she is at the job. She hates being there. She doesn't like the people. They gossip. They this, they that. I said to her, okay, I'm going to give you another suggestion. You're young. You have a lifetime full of jobs ahead of you. And you will encounter other people like that. But if you let them steal your light, your peace, your point of happiness within yourself, you will never be happy. Never. Not in any job. So take your power back. Start to just forget about what they are doing and focus on what you are doing. What if you are there to bring some positivity into their lives? Why do you let your light be dim instead of the other way around? Let your light overshine the darkness in them. Just giving you a different suggestion. So it's all about suggestions. It's all about changing that energy and giving people hope.
Yeah, it's all about being who we were created to be. We were created to be light. And I think the people who make the greatest difference in the world remember that. And every day they
And it
make a
starts
point.
within you, though, right, Fran? If you don't have that light within you, how are you going to teach the children in your class to have that light within them? So I cannot say that enough to people. Find that light within yourself first. Don't ever expect anybody else to give that light to you. It's yours. You were born with it. Just remember it, and remember it more and more every day.
Yeah.
So remember who you are.
And that's, that's the beauty of RTT. That's the beauty of rapid transformational therapy. If you just feel like you can't find the light within you, we can help. We will help you find it. Guaranteed, we will help you find it.
That's for sure. Well, Fran, this was fun. It was a nice, relaxed conversation about suggestibility today. So thank you.
Thank you.
And if you like this, you know where to subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Love you.
Bye-bye.